Today we are going to build a new rack, ProX rack, with 8 Shure wireless mics, SLXDs, an Allen and Heath SQ5. So this rack has casters. The front and back of the rack actually turn into tables. So this is the front and back. And then it has a laptop slide. And then we're gonna put the SQ5 soundboard right there. It's a 16U rack and then another 13 U's up top for the board. Here's the board that's going to fit into that rack, the Allen and Heath SQ5. Love this board. ProX makes a lot of cool cases these days. This one is one we've built for front of house, just getting it populated with adapters, everything you would need for a tech table. I'm gonna get started building this, and I'll give you some updates along the way, give you some reasons why I chose the types of equipment I did. I'm starting at the top with a Furman power conditioner. Always great to have a power conditioner. This is the M-8DX. One thing I like about this is it has a voltage meter, make sure you're not having a spike or a dip, and it also has these pull-out lights, so we'll be able to see the rest of the gear in the rack. Has a little dimmer here, and then obviously your on-off switch. I like to put my power conditioners at the top of the rack, just a personal preference. We're gonna come up and flip the switch, it's just easier at the top. We got a 4U drawer at the bottom. These are all On-Stage brand drawers. They're lockable. This is gonna be a 4U and 2 2Us. So we can put mic transmitters, handhelds, lavaliers, and any accessories. Just gonna test fit, dry fit, whatever you wanna call it, the rack ears for the SQ5. Just wanted to make sure that we definitely have enough room here. So they actually screw into the bottom. There's a screw hole here, screw hole here. So it looks like three points. And there's one on either side. And then there's 4 holes to actually go into the top of the rack. Right on here. So this, we have 13U. I just want to make sure that we'll actually be able to fit this. Okay, so the rack ears do work. I did have to take the laptop cover, it slides in here, off. It's just a little bit too low and it hits this lip on the SQ5. Kind of a bummer because the laptop slide is actually pretty handy. There is a adjustment here, but it's all the way down for this board. So I'm just gonna leave the laptop cover off. Also, the holes don't really line up. So I'm just gonna pull these out when I put the screws in. But I don't know if this is really not quite 19 inches wide or if the actual SQ5 is, and the mounts are just a little bit wider than normal. So stay tuned. I was able to get the screws in, 4 on each side. I did have to pull this quite a bit over on both sides. And back here, I needed to switch to old analog from the power tools. So I guess, I don't know if it's ProX or Allen and Heath, but not a lot of tolerances there. Anyway, this is the ProX model number of this particular rack if you are interested. So here we are in the bowels of the rack here. I haven't cable managed anything yet, but so that top rack unit is the distribution, antenna distribution. And what that does is allows an A and B off of each of these dual receivers to plug in to the antenna distribution. And then also the power, so it's the power runs to each of these receivers, these dual receivers. So I only need one power cord and basically an A and B antenna. So I have paddle antennas that are directional, I'll show you, to plug into that. Instead of having all those tiny little stubby half antennas, this makes it so much easier. I also have an 8-channel snake. It's labeled and numbered. You could do it with regular XLRs, obviously, but I just like because it's color coded and numbered. That's back of the rack there. And it is threaded on the back, so theoretically you could put a whole bunch more over here. You could put a fan in it, whatever your heart desires. So this is the AC adapter, big brick. It's gonna get plugged into the power conditioner, and then this end, the barrel end here, gets plugged into the antenna distribution up here. And then this will power all the receivers, including the antenna distribution, with a single plug. So instead of having this entire power conditioner filled up with all this, we have just one. I'll use one of these so that if I have wall warts, I'll use the ones with more space. The paddle antennas. Always trying to find a good way to mount the paddle antennas. Obviously, mic stand, straight stand, or boom stand is the typical way, but oftentimes those get forgotten or they're needed on stage for some reason. So I came up with this. I found this from OnStage. They make these clamp, short, basically boom stands. They're made to go onto another mic stand. So you could have like a secondary boom. And I'm just clamping them to the metal. It's actually pretty sturdy. And then putting the paddle antennas up there. So and then these two antennas will run to the distribution in the rack. But I pretty much think this is a good, I actually really like this solution. I mean, they're a little bit close together. They're about 2 feet, so it's within the minimums. Shure recommends what they say, at least 1 wavelength apart, which would be about 20 inches. 3 to 6 feet being ideal, but for our purposes, we're almost never that far away. So this would be okay, and then we could use regular mic stands if we needed to be farther. So anyway, I thought this was pretty cool. Obviously I have to take them off because this is gonna interfere with the case. I haven't found a better spot to mount them that would let me keep them connected, but still, I could just throw them in here when I put the sides on, which are also table legs. All right, we got everything plugged in, so let's go ahead and flip the switch. Furman says 120, that's what we want here in the US. All our receivers booting up. There we go. Automatically defaults to group 1 channel 1 and group 1 channel 2 for the dual system. So we will adjust that. We'll do some scans. Always good to do scans every venue you go to, because you never know what radio frequencies will be around. Shure also has a piece of software called Wireless Workbench, and that's very helpful too for coordinating frequencies and just seeing what RF is in the air. Let's power on the SQ5. Make sure that comes up okay. There it is. Gotta love motorized faders. Now we have all these mic bags full of mic packs for lavs and handhelds. We'll start taking these out, getting them paired, and then they're gonna end up in the drawer. One other thing is you can buy the Shure rechargeable batteries, and then you can buy this 8-pack with the charger. It's a kit. They also make a 2-pack that you can put the handheld mics in or the lav packs in, and you don't have to take the batteries out, but this is much more compact. So we're gonna put this in one of the drawers as well. And the rechargeable is nice to have because they do last just about 8 hours in the SLXD, I found, in real world, 7.5 to 8 hours. And if you were to get 2 sets of these in a drawer, you could easily get through every day of a conference. So go through half day, recharge, pull the fresh ones out, and really never have to worry about carrying around hundreds of AA batteries. Lastly, the mics do still take regular alkaline AA batteries. So if for some reason you forget to charge these, because that would be my concern, you can still use regular AA's. Pretty. All the SLXD transmitter packs. Come a long way. Little battery, it doesn't just fall off, the battery cover. It's got a little yellow holder. Another thing I like about the SLXD transmitters, so the mic packs and the handhelds, is you can actually lock them. So even though they have the on-off switch, it's really easy to use. If you don't want your presenter or your talent to mess with it, like they often do, and then the sound guy can't turn it back on, you can lock it. So there's a way to do that. The actual lav we are using is the Shure WL185M, and it's the cardioid. I prefer a cardioid lav, and just make sure that our sound folks are pointing it up. Cardioid is the pickup pattern, if you don't know, so it's more of a like that versus an omnidirectional. So you can use the omnis, but we're always fighting feedback inside weird venues. So for me, directionality is better. The lavs are not cheap, and they're also not small. They're not great for like a theater show or TV. They're not small, but for corporate, where you're just, you know, they're expected to be on a shirt or a blazer or a dress, whatever it is, they're fine. Just did a quick test. All of our lavs are working and sounding good. Check, 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 check. Time to label. Another thing I like about these SLXDs is the screen and the menu on the actual microphone. I'm testing the handhelds here. Is really easy to read. You can click through the menu, change a number of settings, and the remaining time is very accurate, especially if you use the rechargeables. That says 6:59. I've had these on for a bit. On the actual receiver, same thing. So you can see the remaining time. And like I said, especially with the Shure rechargeables, it's very accurate. All right, here's the finished rack. Cleaned up a little, did some labeling. Got our lavs, handhelds, and antennas. Fit in here nicely. Like these drawers latch. So all that's left is a little bit more cable management. I tested the lavs and the handhelds, everything's sounding good. So yeah, this is the rack. Not that complicated. ProX makes some great cases. We've been really happy with them lately. We have some trunk cases, a whole bunch of different things. So if you have any questions on this rack build, leave them in the comments below, like the video, and subscribe to Streaming CT. We'll talk to you later.